doing it without the stream last week.
And now it's weird that this is the first time we haven't had like a guest or a guest host in like
A month, at least.
more than a month. Probably like 3 to 4 months, I would think.
I almost texted Bud.
He sent me a message last night. He's like, "Do you want to come on the show tonight?" And
Oh, he was
normally,
looking for
yeah,
game show contestants.
normally I would, but like I was in the middle of throwing on, like scrambling to throw my hardtop on the Jeep because apparently we were supposed to get a shitload of snow last night and nobody told me about it. And I'm thinking it was just gonna be a dusting, so I didn't want it sitting on the fucking soft top. I'm like, oh great, this is gonna be fun.
I hate snow.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not fun.
Woke up this morning and was like, oh, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Feels bad. Hey, I should
Feels
probably
real
tweet
bad.
that we're live, huh?
Feels Xbox.
It does feel Xbox.
Might get an Xbox next generation. Depends on if I get to play Last of Us 2 and Death Stranding.
Right.
It mostly just depends on if Last of Us 2 is the end or if it's another cliffhanger.
Who's this? Interesting. What we haven't planned are not the post-launch expansion you have played. Huh.
Scott, we're going to be talking about Game of the Year tonight.
Destiny 2. No, sorry, Forsaken. Forsaken.
It's nominated for ongoing.
Yeah.
Best ongoing game.
It's not going to win.
Yeah. No, it's
No.
not. Definitely not.
It's up against Fortnite.
Oh God! Can we just light those fucking servers on fire and piss all over them? I'm so tired of hearing about that stupid game.
I mean, you have to admit that Fortnite has done a ton for bringing gaming more mainstream.
I
Oh,
don't have to
this-
admit shit. I could take a dump in a box and put a guarantee on it. Doesn't mean it's actually guaranteed.
I mean, it's guaranteed
Fortnite's-
to be shit if you shit in the box.
I don't know. What is it?
No,
Schrodinger's cat? Depends on if you look.
This is true. This is true.
Fortnite is also about to get sued for
Oh, please,
all the.
please.
It's not gonna. Nothing's gonna happen. It's all the dances. Rappers are claiming their dances as intellectual property.
Oh Christ! I don't even know, dude. I honestly don't know. That's like a battle of who I want to die first, but I want them both to die. Like, can we just put both those parties on a plane crash and just?
Because they were like, oh, next. Somebody was like, next they're gonna sue. Like parkour guys are gonna sue Mario for copying his style.
That's so dumb. God. The world and the internet is full of so many dumb people, and it just makes me angry that they have so much money. And it's like, God, can this go to something useful and not like Fortnite and rappers who want to, sue for their fucking dances?
Yeah. Let's clap.
Okay.
Uno momento.
The world waits. It looks on my screen looks like I'm looking at you, but that's just where my video is.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I don't really look at you guys during the show. I just look at my notes.
Yep. All right, I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. I can hear myself echoing somewhere.
I've
Three.
got headphones on.
I don't know. When I was counting down, I heard like 3, 3, 2, 2.
What?
One, dance.
Maybe it's
Hold on.
Do.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Shh. Yeah. I don't get it.
It only happened once.
It didn't happen that time.
That's weird.
I've gotten it on a couple of podcasts when I'm editing. I'll hear somebody. I should check and see who it is. Pregnant pause. Love it. Hopefully anybody who's watching the stream is just like, what? I don't think anybody's watching though.
I'm watching.
5 people. Look, pizza rolls commercials are stupid, and this is Barely a Destiny Show, episode 94. The show where we barely talk about Destiny, your gaming podcast for the Destiny enthusiast, if you will. I'm your host, Det
Indeed.
Ben Malone, and with me tonight is the OG crew. We've got Xanafan711 and Slapshot Scott.
What's
That's
up?
it.
I missed you guys.
We missed
We
you.
missed you.
You missed me telling everyone I was a hunter main.
I listened, and you're a heathen.
Thank you.
I'll take it.
Next thing
I'm
you
still-
know, he's gonna have shards of Galanor on. He's just gonna be blade barraging all over the place. Gross.
Yeah.
If I get shards of
Gross.
if I get the shards of Galanor, should I mention it as many times as you mentioned that you have Ursa Furiosa?
Oh my god. Hey, Fluffy got Ursa today, and I was like, "Welcome to being a Sentinel main."
I was listening to the shows that I wasn't on, and I was just like, I think Steve said that he has Ursa like 6 times on this episode.
I love it so
He was
much.
really excited.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
I
this
love it
is
so
weeks
much.
after he had gotten it. I had played with him.
Well, I discovered a
Anyway.
new thing with Ursa this week too. It's called start the match wearing Syntheseps, get your super, swap to Ursa, get 3 or 4 supers. Someone kills you in it, back to Syntheseps. It's dirty.
I've discovered that this show is streamed live at twitch.tv/Xanafan711 at around 9 p.m. Eastern every Friday. And if you're in the chat, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
Band of the week this week is it's okay. It messed me up because the band camp is, you'll see. The band is Layover. The album is Your Laughter Never Leaves. Now this is a good one. A very pop punk. Love it. I mean, I love all the bands that we play on this show, but it's another hit right here. You can find it at foxrecords.bandcamp.com and then /album/ Your Laughter Never Leaves. I would just Google it, or if you guys haven't noticed, I always link that in the show notes. You can just go straight to the Bandcamp from there.
You go.
We don't have a Patreon, so we suggest that you give your money to the bands. Send us emails if you want your band to be on the show, or if you just want to tell us anything, send them to barelyadestinyshow@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter @barelyads and DM us, or tweet at us. Either or. Don't care. I do care, but I don't care which one you do. Or get in a Discord and talk to us there. You go to barelyads.com. And we got all the links to everything there. From
Yeah.
there, you can do all the things I previously mentioned and join our Destiny clan. That's right. Still kicking. I had to boot people from the clan because we ran out of space.
That's exciting. And we picked up a new PC member today.
Yep. And then iTunes reviews, I did not check. But I have to take 1 second. I will be right back.
Oh, we don't have any new ones. I checked it.
Oh, I see what's going on here. No new ones, but please send us iTunes reviews. 5 stars only.
That's right.
Only 5 stars. And I do want it. We just said that we had a new clan member join. He's not new. He was in the PS4 clan. He made the switch to PC like a gentleman and a scholar. Welcome to the PC part of the clan. The good part, Mr. Rebel Scum. Welcome, dude. He's back. And Chris is in the chat like you could all be. What's up, Chris? How's it going, man? Ben is, quote, checking iTunes reviews currently, so we're vamping. This is what you do, you know? You vamp. I don't really have a whole lot of stuff to talk about Destiny because I have only been playing competitive. Just
Ugh.
competitive. Like I log in and it's comp playlist. And then, yeah, that's about it. I played a little bit of Banner because Fluffy still wants that God roll Bite of the Fox thing.
Yeah, I have had zero interest in playing Iron Banner. I got Thunderlord last night. Are we allowed to do this? Can we transition without Ben? Is that a thing?
I mean, we're just vamping right now, anyways.
Yeah, well, I'm here.
Okay.
Do you guys don't see me? I'm sitting here. iTunes reviews, we don't have any. That's all the housekeeping. Let's get to the TWAB. All right. This week,
Zitwab.
thin words at Bungie this week. We've got one juicy little nugget up in here, and that's the Gambit changes.
Oh, tell me about these changes,
Mhm.
Ben.
I'm excited for some of these changes.
Okay. Infamy rank point awards for all bounties have been doubled.
Love it.
Okay, so you can rank that up faster.
Thank
Numerous dailies, daily challenges, and weeklies have had their objectives retuned, to take less time and be easier to complete.
That
So
sounds great.
Oh.
easier to do it, and you get more points for it. And they're adding a new bounty, and it's for
Yes.
Primeval Envoy kills.
All right, pause right here. Thank you, Bungie, because the fucking blueberries that I got stuck playing with last week, actually all the time for my one match of Gambit after work to get the engram, don't know how to kill Primeval Envoys, and they don't know the Primeval Slayer thing.
Yeah,
So
it's
they just
cool.
sit there and try and waste the Primeval straight up.
It's cool that Bungie puts a lot of bounties in that make people play the game correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big fan of that. Subdivision rank ups for Gambit now give you legendaries instead of blues.
This is great.
Primeval catch-up mechanics have been retuned, so it's not as easy for the team in the what's the opposite of the lead? The losing team?
Yeah.
Not as easy for them to catch up.
Well, the strategy for that, the reason I think that came in, we were talking about this last night when we played some Gambit, was because we ran into a couple teams pulling this. They'd wait till we summoned a Primeval, and then they'd dump like 15 motes each, and we'd get 2 giant ogres plus some small trash blockers around while we're trying to kill off a Primeval. And meanwhile, they just, Melting Point, Chaos Reach, Blade Barrage, and they're done in 3 seconds.
That's pretty good strategy, Cotton.
Oh, it's
but
fantastic strategy.
I'm pretty sure that the catch-up mechanic wasn't that big of a deal. Like if they're dropping 2 ogres right after you pull your Primeval, they've got at most 2 stacks. They're just
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of a team that's that coordinated isn't using the catch-up mechanic to win. They would win anyway.
But we ran into a couple of them this past week that I'm pretty sure we're doing that.
Well, and isn't it if you call the Primeval second that you get a buff?
You get stacks
You do get a
based on
buff,
how
yeah.
long of a time it's been since the other Primeval was called. So it wasn't like as I didn't think the catch-up mechanic was all that bad.
No, it wasn't terrible. It still helped good teams that would think of that do it though. Like I said, we ran into a few, and I mean there were some matches where we were just getting steamrolled. It didn't really matter, but
Well,
yeah.
at least now it won't happen to me as much where we're like absolutely dominating and then we lose.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the only other thing is Black Armory. The next expansion is coming out a week after this season ends, and it's going to be just like with the Forsaken week, where it's just going to be fucky for a week as they prepare for the new DLC. We talked about all the rank resets last week, so that's it. That's the TWAB. Nothing else in there that I thought you should know.
Oh, the
double and
season
triple
ends
infamy.
on the 27th.
Said it
Probably
last
been
week.
said, but still, get your shit done.
Yeah, this
like,
this
we
coming
went
week.
over
What is
dates.
it? The
Yeah.
23rd is this week? Is November 20th to the 23rd is double infamy, and then November 23rd to the 27th is triple infamy.
So, we have been talking a lot about this Red Dead game,
Yeah,
or everybody has.
yeah.
I think I have yet to talk to you about it, Steve, and I think we may have 1 or 2 more episodes where we end up talking about it once Grand Theft Auto Online, once Red Dead Online comes out.
Yeah.
But you've been playing a bunch of Red Dead, and it's a good game, right?
Yeah. All right. It's Red Dead is weird. I think like weird, not bad weird, not necessarily good weird. It's just weird. Like the game feels clunky in the same sense as like OG Mass Effect from 2007. Like the
Or every Grand Theft Auto game.
or yeah, I mean it feels like a Rockstar game. The story is amazing. there's a bunch of random stuff that like there's so much random stuff that there's something random for everyone. To the point where like people who don't like open world games find themselves doing weird random things that are just time sinks in this game. I think I haven't heard of a single person that hasn't found like dominoes or hunting or Texas Hold'em or something just that you can get lost in for a few hours in that game.
I'm a hunter myself.
You like to hunt?
Oh yeah, gotta get those skins.
I'm still in chapter 2. So I'm probably 20 hours in. I haven't played a whole lot the last week because I've been grinding comp like crazy in Destiny. But yeah, I'm not gonna say it's fun, but I enjoy it. The game is like the most frustrating game that you won't stop playing.
Yeah, it's true. Fuck, I can't remember what it is. I ran into an event last night. I posted a clip on Twitter.
I saw a little bit of it. I didn't watch the whole thing though.
So I ran into this guy, and he got like attacked by something, and his arm got fucked up.
Uh-huh.
And I rode him back into town, or no, he just like fell off his horse. That's what it was.
Okay.
He was riding, and he's like slouching, fell off his horse. I put him on mine, rode him to a doctor, and
gave him a ride to the doctor.
Yeah. And he almost died on the way. And then when we get there, the doctor's like, bring him into the back. And he's talking to the guy, and the quest is already over. Like, once I got him in there. But he's talking to the guy, and he's like, this looks pretty bad. He's like, I'm going to have to amputate. And then he gives the guy a shot. The guy passes out. And then the doctor looks at me. He's like, you might want to leave the room for this. It's not going to be pretty.
Oh, geez.
And then proceeds to saw the guy's fucking arm off in front of me. Like, as soon as he's like, you might want to leave, I was like, oh, fuck no. And I like walked around the table so I could see him do it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's crazy stuff like that. Gear Dad is saying he likes to take baths in Red Dead, which is funny because if you haven't played, when you take a bath, you're laying in the tub and there's like a button for you can buy the fancy treatment and
The deluxe bath.
The deluxe bath where someone comes and washes you for you. Like you don't have to wash yourself. And it'll be like wash right arm, wash left leg or something like that. And for some reason, every single time you start to have the girl wash a part of you, it looks like she reaches in and grabs your dick before washing the part. Every single time.
My dad was playing, and he didn't know what the deluxe bath was. And I walked in while he was getting the deluxe bath, and I was like, ooh, being a little pervy, Dad.
I do have a cool story for Red Dead from like a random event. Because like, if you didn't know, you'll just be like doing your thing, and then someone will like flag you down, or just like, hey, come here, like I need your help or something like that. And so I'm in town. Was it Valentine? And I'm riding by, and this lady is like, hey, come help me real quick. So being the completionist that I always am, I hopped off my horse and followed her up to the bedroom in the top of the bar. And she had killed a dude and wanted me to throw the body into the pig pen. And I was like, I don't think I should do this. This is risky. Not because I don't think I should hide a body. That's like,
come on, Steve.
It's just like part of. Oh, I still did it, but still, like I had my doubts, and for good reason, because I had just finished dropping the body in the pig pen. The body lands. As soon as the body lands, witness. I was just like, oh no! And I'm in town. You can't get away.
Ben, isn't this like the story you guys told last week where you and Dan Infinity both murdered an entire town?
Every single time you do something slightly bad, it's just like witness, and then the whole town's dead.
Oh, I did not. I ran away. I was successful in running away.
Have you accrued and? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, that bounty on my head was like $80. I was like, wow, that was my most expensive bounty on my head so far.
All right, when I was in chapter 2, I amassed $900 in bounties.
How? What?
I got max bounty in 3 different states because I didn't have enough money to pay the first one. So I tried to commit crimes in the next state and then failed, accrued a giant bounty, tried to go to the next state, or I think I robbed a train in the same place, and the train, by the time I got caught, was in another place. So I literally had to, the way I got out of it, I found a treasure map that had 2 gold bars. I got $1,000 out of that and paid off all my bounties. That was the only way I could progress. Twice it has happened to me that my bounty has been so high and I don't have enough money that I have to go commit crimes and do odd jobs to get money. And it sucks. It's hard to come
Man,
up with
that is
hundreds of
like-
dollars.
Right.
That is like a very meta thing. It's
Yeah.
like a microcosm of what happens in society now.
I
It's a g-
So
Oh,
You
it's
t-
so
You took a
awful.
deep right there. You're like, oh, bro, society.
That was the one where I'm just like, this sounds way too like.
What is that?
familiar and-
Is it called an allegory?
I think so. Yeah.
Hmm.
I slept a lot in English class.
Hey, man, me too.
I found a
But
treasure map. I haven't gotten the treasure yet.
you look it up online, unless you want to be a freak. I did one last night
Mhm.
by myself, and it was really cool though because it was like go to this tree, go 20 paces north, and then 4 paces east.
Mhm.
And I did that, and I ended up right on top of it. And I was like, holy shit. I was like,
Nice.
that's fucking cool. But I bring this up because the Game Awards, the nominees were,
Announced.
I don't know, announced, yes. And I think I don't want to go over all these. We can go over a couple if you guys want. But Game of the Year specifically, here's the nominees this year.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, God of War, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Now, anybody with half a brain knows that money's between Red Dead and God of War. Nobody
Right.
else has a fucking chance.
There's-
like
I've heard
Assassin's
some-
ACO, yeah, maybe, but that's so wild card.
There's a lot of people that like ACO and are like, but my game of the year is God of War. Like,
Yeah.
if any other year, it would be
Yeah.
my. And I've actually heard of a couple people say they like Spider-Man. They liked Spider-Man more than God of War. So like, I don't think Spider-Man's gonna win, but like,
Not a chance.
there's
It's a
For-
great game, but like
for like half of the general gaming community, it's in the conversation. You know, it's like, wow, I wish this came out any other year, it would win.
if God of War didn't come out this year or Red Dead, Spider-Man would most definitely win.
I think Spider-Man would beat Red Dead. Honestly, it's just so much fun to play. That's like Red Dead's no fun to play, and the story's amazing. Spider-Man's got a really good story. It's like the most fun to play.
Well,
So like,
okay,
it's-
so here's the thing: is the technical achievement of Red Dead, I think, gives it a ton of points. However,
What are the criteria for this? Is it just journalists voting, like when it's an athlete or something like that, or is
we
Um,
can't. The community gets its own vote, but it is a bunch of journalists and different people in the games industry. I do know that in order for a game to get nominated, because they have the industry members do the nominations,
mhm.
Mhm.
that if you want to nominate a game for Game of the Year, you have to nominate 3 games.
Hmm.
So that's how they do it. So that way people aren't just like nominating the one that they think is going to win.
Yes.
And a lot of places are like, you have the option of skipping a category if you're like, I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable voting for best art direction. You're like, I
Right.
don't fucking know. We're not
Or
going to put
none of
anything
us, if say we were a big time podcast that just covered gaming news and stuff like that, and we had a vote, we would probably abstain from fighting games. You know, we
Yeah,
wouldn't nominate a fighting game. We wouldn't. Nominate
I don't play
a
those
racing-
or sports
yeah,
games
or a racing game. Yeah. So
I play racing games.
Well, yeah,
Not
you do,
good.
but
Not
you
good
know what I
ones,
mean.
but-
Like the games that like if you don't play a lot in that category, just don't.
yeah,
That's fair.
You guys want to hear some of the categories that I find interesting?
yeah. Let's do it.
And then I want to come circle back around to Game of the Year, but it's God of War. Best ongoing game: Rainbow Six Siege,
Mhm.
Overwatch, No Man's Sky, Fortnite, and Destiny 2. Now,
Okay.
I know that we would all vote for Destiny 2. However, I don't think Destiny 2 could beat Overwatch.
Nope.
I think it would be like close with Rainbow Six Siege, definitely dominate No Man's Sky, and absolutely get crushed by Fortnite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fortnite
Let me-
100% wins this category.
Let me
Yeah,
ask this
Fortnite's gonna
question.
win a lot.
What is, and this is before I throw my chair down the staircase behind me and start shouting and smashing things by that fact. Because Fortnite's trash. I don't fucking care who you are. I don't care what it is.
It's
fucking
not
trash.
though. That game
It's
is
trash. It's fucking trash.
It's not
dude.
though. It's got
It's trash.
the gameplay is simple and it's easy to pick
The
up.
gameplay
and
is
it's
fucking
smooth.
garbage. The mechanics are so wildly inaccurate as far as shooting goes, and the building mechanic pisses me off more than anything on the fucking planet.
Listeners, what
thing
Scott's
about
saying is he doesn't like it.
The thing about Fortnite,
there-
I could
right,
actually
that's-
see
and that's-
Fortnite not winning this because
Siege.
well, no,
here-
mostly
here's-
because
here's my
Fortnite is
question.
what's up?
Here's my question. What is the criteria for best ongoing game? Because if something is just online and playing PvP for the
It's
next
like-
100 years, it could be like Halo 3 or some fucking shit. It just needs people to.
I think it's
to,
games that are games as a service that are still receiving updates.
Yeah.
So like there's PvE and PvP content, or like
No,
what is the
just a game that is
See-
continuing to receive updates.
I call bullshit on that. I think that's kind of a whack ass rule because like No Man's Sky obviously is a big thing. Destiny, obviously, but like you can't. And I mean, Overwatch is there anything other than PvP in that? But there's probably a
No.
story to it, right?
Not really.
No.
No.
There is a
Okay.
story. It's all offline. I think the thing about Fortnite is I'm not sure if it will win because it is so. It did a lot for the game industry and kind of legitimized the game industry in a big way, but it also is such a fad. It's yo-yos, it's
what I'm
Pokemon
saying,
cards.
man.
Like
It's
no one.
It's a fucking fad, and the fact that people are just like, "Oh, it did so much for the gaming industry," like maybe in some way, but
It
at the
just
same
brought
time,
it to popular culture. Like it brought
exactly.
gaming in.
It made it the same thing as like fucking I don't know Tony Hawk did for skateboarding, or Guitar Hero
Yeah.
did for like guitar.
It
learning
it
to
is
play
in
guitar or
exactly
whatever.
in that same vein
know?
as Tony Hawk
And
and
it's-
Guitar Hero.
It's so infuriating, though. In my aspect, my point. I'll wrap this in a sec. Is that's kind of an insult to games that actually did do stuff for the whole gaming industry as far as advancing. Like you were saying before, God of War, for example. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's fucking shit. Like, do you want to sit there and have like fucking rainbows and cotton candy bullshit, or do you
Well-
want something that's gonna be like,
the good news is
We're-
that gamers are not stupid because as much as Fortnite, it was like
Fortnite would never win Game
swept
of
the
Year.
nation. Yeah, I was like, as much as that happens, the only thing anybody's fucking talking about right now is being a goddamn cowboy.
Yeah.
So like the gaming community and like the public is still like, yeah, Fortnite, but also Red Dead. Like
Yeah.
we still like good games out here. The public
Here's
is
the- yeah,
not completely lost.
The reasoning is because you can go in solo, you can go in with your friends, you can play for 15 minutes, you can play for 15 hours. It's simple. It's like
It's free.
it's free, and honestly, like
and it
whether you
runs
like
on a
it or
fucking
not-
toaster.
Yes, it runs on everything. It's just very, very accessible, and it is a think about where Fortnite came from. It came from a failed PvE game. They made a pivot and just killed it. And they did things appropriately as far as microtransactions go. They did things appropriately with their seasons, the way the like season passes work and things like that. Like people
I'll
are
give them the
willing to.
microtransactions thing. They know how to run that, and they have it plastered everywhere in game on every single menu. These are cosmetic items, and they do nothing other than have
Exactly.
a different whatever,
The-
which is
the
great.
worst
I think
part-
that's good.
They
If
created
we
a
ever
culture.
get crossplay for Destiny
Mhm.
or cross save, you're gonna have to go and give the shout out to Fortnite. You're gonna have to be like, it wouldn't have
Yeah.
happened without you, bud. Which sucks.
Exactly.
I mean, it would have happened eventually, but like the reason it happened
Yeah.
now is because of that fucking game.
Let me say one thing too. I don't like Fortnite. I don't
No, I
enjoy
don't either.
playing it. But I have to give it to Epic and to that game. That game is a good game. I just don't like it. I don't like the battle royale genre. But it's a good, well developed game, and they're doing a lot of really cool things with their events. They're active. They're involved in the community. They do a lot with creators. Like, it's more than just the game too. You know, a big part of why we like Destiny is the Destiny community. And sure, the Fortnite community is a big chunk of kids, but the streamers that play it for the
I was
most
gonna
part
say
are
Fortnite community's all 12-year-olds.
yeah. But there's
Yeah.
like a big chunk of like the bigger streamers that are, you know, helping as much as Sesame Street was for us. Some of these streamers are being able to do that through Fortnite. They can,
You know, I really don't think that Fortnite's gonna win this one now after talking it out because
If there's a fucking god in
Well-
any god listening, it won't.
I think
it's not
It
a
really
vote of
won't.
public opinion. It's a vote of game industry people.
yeah.
And they're like, I know the Giant Bombcast. Those
Yeah.
motherfuckers are playing Destiny too. Like they're all into it. They don't play
Yeah.
like we do, but they all play the game.
Yeah.
So and they're all like really into Forsaken. I think the biggest complaint I've heard about Destiny 2 from the general games media is that it's too in depth and that it's just targeted towards Destiny players. I was like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
Which is
not
what
a
they need
problem.
to be doing. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it is and it isn't. You know what I mean? It's not a problem for us. It is a problem for Bungie if they're trying to get new players in because it to the people that don't play Destiny, it's a scary fucking game to jump into because they're like, oh no, man, everybody knows that plays that game. All they do is play that game.
Yeah.
And it's like the same way I feel about like World of Warcraft, where I'm like, I don't want to get fucking sucked into that lifestyle.
Right. Which the World of Warcraft Classic coming out next year. If I jump into that, see y'all in 10 years. You know.
You
I probably
fucking
won't.
better not. All right, best action game: Mega Man 11, Far Cry 5, Dead Cells, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and Destiny 2 Forsaken.
Spider-Man's not in that category?
Nope.
Huh.
Spider-Man is in best action/adventure game.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
Which is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead 2, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Oh, rip
So
Spider-Man
again,
in
I think
that
God of War is
category.
going to take that one.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last one we can do best multiplayer. Sea of Thieves, Monster Hunter World, Fortnite, Destiny 2 Forsaken, and Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
That
How
one,
did-
Destiny could win.
I was gonna say, how did nobody was talking about D2 before Forsaken, and then Forsaken came out. There's a bunch of people who came back, but how did it get into all these categories? I think that alone needs to be acknowledged by someone or something. Because, like, can you guys imagine before Forsaken if D2 wouldn't have been in any of these conversations? It might because it came out, but I don't think it would have.
Yeah,
been
I don't think it would be
more
but
than one category.
Shoot, I totally lost my train of thought.
Well, guys, the last one is Content Creator of the Year, and it's Willy Rex, never heard of him. Pokimane, never heard of him. Myth, never heard of him. Ninja, and please, if you guys could all do your part and vote, Dr. Lupo
Oh,
is
fuck yes.
is one of the
I'll go
content
vote for
creators.
that right fucking now. Lupo is
So-
the goddamn
You can.
man.
You can't. vote for
Wait,
Lupo.
should we tell people where to go to vote for this thing? Because I don't fucking know.
I don't know either.
I'm-
It's probably GameAwards.com or just search Game
Just-
Awards voting.
I'm
Do
gonna
the
Google
work.
Vote for Dr. Lupo.
Yeah, I've heard of
Because I want to vote for
Pokemon.
Dr. Lupo.
Who's this ninja guy? I think Drake should have been nominated for Content Creator of the Year.
Oh
Fucking
my
killing
God.
it.
Yeah.
So on the top, my main topic was I wanted to just talk about, is it gonna be Red Dead or God of War?
I think it's
Uh,
gonna be God of War, overwhelmingly so.
Yeah, because my thing with Red Dead, technical masterpiece.
Yeah.
Okay, story fantastic, all that.
It's not
but-
fun.
You, I have fun playing it. But what I'm saying is when you hear people talk about Red Dead and after a couple of weeks, people are like, the cracks are starting to show.
Mhm.
There's problems with this game there's some janky shit. Everybody kind of can find something about Red Dead that they don't like. That's not to say that people don't like Red Dead. However, God of War, a couple weeks after release, people were like, I'm so fucking playing this shit. That fucking shit is amazing, man. Like, God of War nailed every aspect of its gameplay.
You know, now that you bring
And
this up, I don't think I've heard a single criticism of God of War.
I can't think of any. It's been a while though.
Not one. Well, people have been
Oh,
talking about God of War since it came out.
People said that the Valkyries at the end were too hard, but that's not really a criticism. That's like, dude, it's the only end game thing for God of War.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Once you beat the game, like fight the Valkyries because they're really fucking hard if you want to keep playing. If you want to like master the combat. And the New Game Plus I had a fun time with. I didn't finish it, but I think probably like 10 hours into the New Game Plus and was really enjoying it.
I'm totally doing New Game Plus with Spider-Man on the hardest difficulty. I want to get back to that's one of those games that I'm going to play over and over and over again.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
yeah.
the new DLC comes out for that in like a week.
Hey, Spider-Man, Sony exclusive.
Yes.
But you know where we're not going to see Sony exclusives?
E3.
In 2019, Sony has announced they will not be at E3.
That's hilarious.
This comes off of them not having PSX this year either. So this is two events that Sony's like, nah. And well, okay. Do you think this is a good idea? Let's go to Scott. Scott, you think it's a good idea for Sony to skip E3 in 2019?
I don't know, man. It's a. I guess my main question is why. Like, what's going on? Is it financial trouble or something where they don't?
Oh, it's definitely not financial trouble.
Right, exactly. So like, what the hell is going on? Do they not have? What is there like a fucking? Their kids have a swim meet that weekend or something? I really don't know.
So this is the best thing that I've heard about it. Is Sony's basically, this is what I heard and what I think is probably true. Sony pulled their big old dick out and was like, fuck you guys. I'm not sharing a fucking stage with Xbox and fucking Ubisoft and all that shit. Fuck you. We'll have our own goddamn thing. PS5 is going to be coming out.
Wait, are they gonna have their own goddamn thing with blackjack and hookers?
Oh, I don't know. They haven't announced that they're going to do their own thing yet, but that's the only thing that makes sense is that with the new consoles on the horizon, that they would be holding off of E3 because they're like, we're big enough to do our own thing and not have to share the spotlight with all these others. That we can just fucking do our show and get all the attention rather than splitting it.
They're turning into Nintendo. They're like, whatever, we're just going to do us. And Scott, if you want to do your own thing with blackjack and hookers, play Red Dead.
He's right. It's a great game.
On second thought, screw the blackjack.
But not the hookers.
Oh, man.
It's a Futurama reference.
Anyway, all right. So I think there's a couple things that this could mean. And also, I think it also says some things about the industry as a whole. Like, if you really think about what E3 is and like where it came from, is that back in the day, youngins out there, we used to have to get our gaming information from these things called magazines, and you had to like get a games subscription thing from GameStop to get Game Informer or get Nintendo Power or something like that. And that's where E3 really was like a big deal, is because you'd get your news for the year all in one place, and the public wasn't even invited back then.
And if you guys are still lost by the magazine thing, it's basically the internet made out of trees.
Yeah, rip Prima Games. They shut down.
Yeah, no more Prima Games. So now with the internet age and with anytime anything's announced, there's thousands of people making reaction videos on YouTube about it. They like the media news kind of thing is just kind of left to us, the consumers. Like, they don't need to work as hard to do it. So I think this says two things. One, Sony doesn't need E3 to get the news out there anymore. Like, if you're invested, then you're going to find out via the content creators you follow or the Sony blog or any of that kind of, or the podcast that you listen to. There's so many different ways to get your information now. You don't need to rely on E3. So it's one, Sony telling E3, you're not as useful as you once were.
Don't they have to pay a shitload of money to be one of the
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but I mean,
like,
Sony's got it.
a
feature
third
or
of
whatever, and they're
E3
probably
was
just like,
dedicated
"Fuck
to
you."
Sony. A third. There's like
I
a
think the
Sony
best-
section.
The best comparison I've heard is that Sony's doing their own BlizzCon. They're like, look, if you're not on Sony, we're just gonna do a giant fucking Sony event. That's what
They already have
That's
been,
what I
but
suspect.
they canceled it. That's the one thing that you're like, oh, well, they canceled PSX.
Well, I think that PSX was canceled because they didn't really have anything to show,
Right.
and I think that this next year they're gonna come out swinging big dick as fuck.
I think the best theory that I've heard is that in February, which would be history repeating itself, February early next year, they announce that the next console, whatever it may be, is coming. And all the games that haven't come out yet, like The Last of Us 2, the ones that you care about, Last of Us 2, Death Stranding, are going to be probably crossing that bridge between this console and the next one. I bet you could still play them on PS4, but
Yeah, it'll be like how The Last of Us came out at the tail end of PS3 and then was like one of the first games on PS4.
yeah, something like that. Or they'll just work on both systems. I really like that theory. I hope that's
I
a
fucking
thing.
hope.
Yeah, that would be great. It's like you can get a new system and they'll run better and look better, or you could still play it on your old system.
So, do you guys think that with these new systems, you're going to stick with PlayStation or you're going to move over to Xbox? Because Xbox has been making some moves. They acquired Obsidian,
Yes.
and they have like a bunch of other fucking studios. So they're working on a new IP, like a new exclusive Microsoft IP. So who knows? Maybe the next thing as big as Halo's come out.
Right. Well, I mean, also another one of the studios that they announced at E3 last year was Ninja Theory, and Chris was saying in the chat how much of a work of art Hellblade was, and now they're gonna have Microsoft money to develop the next game. Because the Hellblade was considered, it was made by what, like 9 people or some stupid shit like that.
I have no idea.
It was a very, very small team that made Hellblade, and it was considered to be a AA game because it was so polished and so good, made with so little resources. Imagine that team with Microsoft's resources, giving Obsidian Microsoft resources. And here's the best part: you don't have to buy an Xbox to play these games.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Xbox is really pushing the PC thing lately. They're trying to make a big push. This is from the XO18 that they had. They made an announcement that they're trying to make a big push towards having Game Pass, a lot of stuff for PC players on Game Pass. And I was like, oh please,
Yep.
oh fucking please, I will play State of Decay. I like Forza, State of Decay, and then whatever they come out with.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
Sea of Thieves is on there. Here's the other thing about that: all these new studios are going to be making Microsoft exclusives, right? Xbox exclusive games that you can play on your PC. They will all, because also from the XO18 event, they will all be available on Game Pass on release day. So you don't have to buy any of them. You just
but
if you have Game Pass, you got it. You got the new Ninja Theory, you got the new Obsidian game, all through Xbox Game Pass.
I don't know.
Your move.
Sony also has baller exclusives.
They do, and I heard an interesting thing on a podcast last week. PS Now, the PlayStation version of Game Pass that didn't do well because it was streaming only, and they kind of they doubled down on it and made it so you can download some of those games. It's actually doing very well.
I heard that too. They're saying it's doing better than Game Pass, but the amount of PS4s out there is going to offset that.
There's 3 times as many PS4s as there are Xbox Ones.
So of course there's going to be higher numbers because they just have more PlayStations.
Right.
I'd like to see the percentage of users that have that because I bet you Game Pass is much higher. I don't know. Xbox, I feel like, is doing a lot of cool stuff to try and win the next generation.
They're very really pro gamer. It seems like, and Xbox is pro gamer, PlayStation not as much. But
it's a 180 from what they announced after the 360.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is just I remember I was gonna go Xbox One because that's where my all my Borderlands shit
Yeah.
was at that point in time, and then they started announcing some of the bullshit that the X1
Connect.
Oh
the
yeah,
Xbox Connect and all that shit that always has to be online, and it's going to be able to turn on whatever and this, that, and the other. I'm like, oh, and you can't. Well, they were the ones who said you can't borrow or lend games from friends or buy
Yes.
used games.
I've been hearing a
I was
lot
like,
about
yeah,
this.
Fuck you.
Where PlayStation came out immediately afterwards and it was like, here's how you can share games with PlayStation, and it's like
Yeah.
the biggest fuck you to Microsoft ever.
I heard that. I was like, all right, I guess I'm done with Xbox for now.
Yeah. Well, Microsoft tried to throw their dick around like after coming off the big win from 360, and it did. The gamers were like, "Nah, dog."
That's what I'm hoping doesn't happen to PlayStation.
Right. But that's what I was to finish my thought earlier. Xbox has been going like Xbox in the Xbox One era has been pro gamer or moving that direction. And with these acquisitions, they're now adding pro game. They want to make good games, and that's important. PlayStation in this generation has been pro game. They're just like, we're just gonna release amazing games through our first parties, and they succeeded. And they're trying to be pro gamer, but the problem is it's much easier to make a pivot for Microsoft to making more exclusive games that you want to play than it is for PlayStation to go pro gamer and change the infrastructure that they put in place during PS3 when they were really setting up online and online was taking off. And so that infrastructure just isn't built to support like quality of life features that you can get on Xbox easily. And they're like working really hard to change those, but it's been a slog. So
We shall see. And we shall also see what our listeners have asked us this week. But first, a word from our sponsor. Steve?
we here at Cosmodrome Vodka would like to express our extreme disappointment with the decision that one of your hosts has made in regard to their class main. Cosmodrome Vodka has always looked down upon the hunters as they are smelly, indignant, ugly, ugly, as it's put, and absolutely do no help with the creation of our products. We'd tell you where to stick your throwing knives, but we like to consider ourselves at least a PG-13 rated business at most. Yes, we realize that hating on hunters can be considered discriminatory, but since the Vanguard runs the Anti-Discrimination Council and we never hear from them ever, we think we're in the clear. So until we receive an official apology for this lack of class insight, there will be no new product announcement from us. No. We definitely still have ideas. Don't think we're making excuses because we've hit some creator's block. Fuck, we just admitted that out loud. Remember, Guardians, in Cosmodrome, Ohio, Titans will main you. There's a follow-up. We should really listen to your entire episode before sending our ad in. Oops. We would like to officially apologize for our punctuation/grammar errors. Blame our lead editor, who also happens to be the religious leader of the Church of the Taken Space Anus. Seriously, the guy constantly has his head up his ass. Or up the taken ass.
There we go. Cosmodrome Vodka. Offer code FuckboyPaul.
Hashtag football Paul.
Pound FuckboyPaul.
I like that better. I think that's way better.
I love telling kids that that's the pound sign. And they're like, what? It's a hashtag. That's not.
No.
That's pound, motherfucker.
Or number.
Right? Or is pound the star? No, that's called star. I'm stupid.
Star is either star or asterisk, yeah.
Yep. I know that it's pound because I recently had to call I forget who the fuck it was, but telemarketers. I had to report a telemarketer.
Ooh.
Yeah, you motherfuckers don't think I know the laws. I do know the telemarketing laws, you bitches.
Because we used to do it.
Yep, and I know that you're not allowed to swear at me. You have to tell me what business you're from, and if I tell you to put me on the do not call list, you have to do that. And I know that I'm pretty sure that you have to be recording all your phone calls.
Yep.
So if they don't have the phone call where they swore at me and told me to go fuck myself and that they'd call me every day, they're just going to get in trouble for not having the recording.
Yep.
Have fun, fucker.
Or that was probably more likely a scammer, not a telemarketer.
No, it was a stupid sports betting thing. They just never fucking stopped calling me.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, someone called in and asked us a question. I don't know who because it's not in the show notes. But
It's
it
Gorilla
says-
Golf.
Sure, go.
These are all Gorilla Golf's questions
Yeah,
first.
Gorilla Golf.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
I wanted to ask a question of you guys.
Okay.
What's something that you're paranoid about that, or what everybody says you're paranoid about, but you know is not? You're like, motherfucker, I'm not paranoid. You guys are just stupid. Because mine is nanobots.
Oh.
That nanobots eventually are just gonna destroy the fucking planet.
Have you read Prey?
Yeah, Prey is outlandish, but
Not that outlandish if you really think about it.
have you heard about the Gray Death? There's already people that are fucking around. Basically, self-replicating nanobots means the end of civilization. If
Oh,
they run on
Jesus.
biofuel,
It's happening.
it's called the Gray Death, where they basically turn the Earth into goop.
It's
So-
happening. Why is it happening?
Oh, and I also heard something that if we don't stop consuming as much fossil fuel as we're doing, and we keep on this rate, that we will have areas on the planet that are unlivable because it's so hot within 40 years. So go buy a fucking electric car.
I wouldn't be shocked about some of these, and it's very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
there's
supposedly
actually
supposed to start seeing the repercussions of global warming and fossil fuel consumption within 20 years is when it's supposed to start.
Yeah, there's a group of high schoolers that are suing the United States government for obstructing their right of life and liberty because they're polluting the planet so much that the planet's going to be fucked by the time that they're adults.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm like, good for you, kids.
Yeah, I have to admire their gusto with that.
This generation that's behind us, the like whatever is after millennials, they actually give a shit, and I'm proud of them.
Lord knows we don't.
Yeah, we don't.
Think about it, man. This is actually something interesting. You're talking about paranoia and stuff like that. I forget what it was. I saw a breakdown. But basically, it wasn't really a conspiracy theory so much as it was saying like the whole reason that the student loan debt and the real estate market was like became like a big problem, or the whole reason that our generation wasn't like more active and involved and like basically pissed off and trying to take a role to change the world, I guess we could say, for lack of a better term, more vocally and more like actively, is because either we were, eyeballs deep in student loan debt, or you were lucky enough to buy a house and you lost a shitload of money when the housing market crashed in 08, 09. There's some people, mostly conspiracy theorists, who, that is what it is, believe that was orchestrated to do that.
Orchestrated, I doubt, but
Yeah,
I do
but
believe
as
that
exactly.
the
as a
results are still
result,
true.
Yeah, I think so, and I gotta agree with you on that.
I gotta say, a big part of that might be because our parents' generation, being young in the 70s, early 80s, had a fantastic economy. And so they taught us how, in that generation, you're supposed to do things. You go to college, you get a good job, you buy a house, right? And however, is way more expensive for all of those things. And in order to do them, most people have to go into debt to do so. And it's much harder now to pay off debt than it was then, because the economy might
sucks.
be, it might be doing better than it has been 10 years ago, but it's still not where it was in like the 80s.
Look at us
the
getting
80s still
political
had-
here.
Yeah.
The 80s still had somewhat of a recession. It was the 90s that was the big boom. I read something at one point that basically said every dollar was counted twice during the 90s, and that's why the boom was counted so much. Once when they made it, and once when they banked it, which is kind of insane if you think about it. I mean, not that I'm any financial genius, but I like to think that I'm pretty sharp on statistics and things like that when I can read them and sort of process them. And I heard that one, I'm like, well, that definitely sounds wrong to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we're really
So-
saying in here is, U.S. government, please forgive our student loan debt so we can move on with life.
Dude, that would bankrupt the country. It would totally bankrupt the country. The United States government is actually the largest holder of student loan debt, even after all the ones they've sold off and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's
but they're
something
not.
like 8.3 billion.
They currently don't have that money, and we're doing fine. So if they continue to not have that money, I'm sure we'll just keep doing fine, right?
All right. So, what are you paranoid about?
For me, it's the like paranoid, but not actually paranoid about it. Is that whole like NSA? They're always listening to you, Big Brother thing, you know. Full disclosure, they are, but really, does anybody
yeah.
give a shit about what you do or say on
Alexis
this level?
says no.
So, like, yes, that's actually happening. They are listening in. The government has full access to everything that you can hear on your phone. Like,
Well,
everything that your phone... Like, your phone is always listening to you. Right now, if I said, okay, Google, my phone would activate. And it did. Always listening. And it's not that big of a deal.
It's funny because it's not necessarily the government,
Right.
and they don't necessarily have access to everything. And I think that was evidenced when a couple years ago there was a shooting in San Diego, and basically the FBI leaned heavily on Apple to create a backdoor into their system, and Apple said absolutely not, because this is how security issues are created. Like, we'll create a backdoor for you, and then somebody will find it and exploit it.
Hack
and then
it.
we have and then we have a shitstorm to deal with, and it never gets better. So they told them no. And the government, you know, as they often do, and you know, especially security issues like this, they got pissed off and whatever. And there was actually somebody who, I think it was.
Didn't they try to sue Apple to make them do it and lost?
Yeah, they tried it, and they basically said, Apple basically laughed and said, "Go fuck yourself." And I think the court upheld that. And so, what happened was there was a guy who said, in the name of cybersecurity, and I want to say it was John McAfee, like the McAfee virus scan guy, but I can't
That dude's
remember.
a fucking freak.
Dude, it was crazy because the person was like the head of some crazy cybersecurity company or whatever. He's like, listen, in the name of cybersecurity, we'll hack the phone for you. Just fucking drop the case against Apple, please, because they're right. And when cybersecurity, somebody who's that big of a name in that industry, the irony being I can't remember the fucking name at this point. I could probably Google it. But
John McAfee has people shit in his mouth.
Yeah.
He pays women to do that. I'm
Oh my
not kidding.
Oh man, I think Chris in the chat, and I don't even think he partakes, has the solution. And I think President Trump, if you're listening,
Oh yeah,
make this happen.
definitely.
yeah, right.
Accept weed, tax it federally, and wipe out the deficit. And that
I
sounds
think
like the
barely
best
knows
idea.
what the internet what it is in your. You think
Okay,
The
so-
internet-
to a podcast?
The internet's
tweet-
where Twitter's at, right?
Yeah, President Trump, tweet that, and then the rest of the world will take care of the rest. Just tweet that you
Oh,
support
man.
the legalization of weed, so that way.
Or jump off a fucking bridge and just move on with life.
I'm gonna, I'll abstain from comment, but I agree with Ben. I think it's
Gorilla
actually
Golf-
funny on that. If anybody's interested in finding out exactly how much, I don't partake, but if anybody's interested in finding out how much money a reasonable marijuana tax can generate, go look at Colorado, because they wiped out a shitload of debts and put a bunch of it into education and infrastructure, which is insane.
Yep. Smoke that weed legally. What is the scariest thing that has ever happened to you while driving? Says Gorilla Golf. I personally had a
Christ.
guy pretty much do a pit maneuver on me and spin my car around twice while it was shitting rain.
Oof. Damn.
Scariest thing that's ever happened to me in a car.
Are
Oh,
we?
I
Are
know
we?
for sure. I almost died. Okay, don't drink and drive, kids, and don't be young and stupid. So my buddy broke up with his girlfriend, so of course we're like, let's hit the bar.
Yeah.
And then
As you do.
on the way back, we're taking an on-ramp from one highway to the next, big curve. And he takes it's like you're supposed to go like 35, 45 or something like that on there. He takes it at 75.
Oof.
Ooh, that's a bad move.
Yeah. So we get to the top of it, and like we're on like the highway, and his car goes skip 180s, and I'm in the passenger seat, and we slam into the median hard enough to bounce the car back off of it, and I could still open my door and get out. We were fine. It was like 3 a.m, so no one was on the roads. And he's like, "Fuck, what do I do? What do I do?" And I was like, "You wait until the cops show." and you're probably gonna go to jail tonight. And I was like, you're definitely gonna get a DUI. And he gets out of his car and fucking runs. So
What?
I'm now
Oh
sitting
my
in the
God.
passenger seat, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" I'm trying to keep the story short. So we run. I lose my phone while we're like sliding down like the overpass. Like we like jumped off the side of the highway and like slid down like this like hill. I lose my brand new iPhone first day I had it. And then he calls the guy, one of the guys at the bar. The guy picks us up, takes us back to my buddy's house. I drive home. I end up going the next day with my laptop doing Find My iPhone and found my phone. And then he talked to his parents about it. His parents called their friend who's a cop, and the guy was like, "Tell him you saw a deer, wrecked your car, freaked out, and ran away." So he actually didn't get in any trouble whatsoever.
Damn. Because
That's
I've heard
fucking
that same
crazy.
story, but the person still got it. They assume drunk driving usually in that scenario and just follow the plates back to who you are and give you. It's like
He got a fine for leaving his car somewhere.
yeah.
That was it.
Man.
Yeah. What about you guys? You almost die?
Mine was I was 16 and I was after school heading to work and I had a tiny little Saturn stick shift and it was shitting snow to use the language Gorilla Golf did. And there's this road. I worked at the airport, and there's this road leading to the airport. It's like it should have been 2 lanes, but it was 1 lane, and there's a giant median between the two sides. Harry London's chocolate factory is on this road, by the way. And just like out of nowhere, I'm spinning, and I spun 4 complete times into the median, like screaming, obviously, and just like, what just happened? My car shut off. And I was just like, took a couple deep breaths, turned the car back on, it started, and drove out and to work. But that time period that I was spinning a whole bunch of times was pretty sketchy. But that's probably the worst thing that's happened to me in a car. Well,
Now
you, Mr. Off-Road.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we limiting this to road behavior or
Nope,
is
just in a car.
In a car.
Oh man, there's definitely been a few times I've almost rolled, like 3 wheels on a rock and between a ledge. There's a few times that I've slid off. It's always been under control, I'll say, but the time that was like pants shittingly terrifying was a few years ago before Thanksgiving. We started doing this thing called Black Friday Bash, and more or less what it was, it started out with me and my best friend, the late great Jonathan Graham, aka Hooligan. His wife would go Black Friday shopping, and we would go on a trail ride. Now, since he passed away, we were trying to keep it going and do it for him, but it just never really worked out. And the last time we did it, very bad day on the trail. Thankfully, nobody got injured, but it was an easy trail. It goes up like the side of a mountain, and it was covered in snow. Unfortunately, we didn't realize it was rapidly turning to ice. And the redneck trailer trash, and I'm using that term specifically because they are trailer trash. They're destroying a trail. Well, trash, I should say. Illegal wheeling people basically were driving up the side of this hill on the mountain and destroyed the berm and like the retaining wall and created like an extra entrance into this trail. And that was totally, as it would rain over the summer and the spring, it would wash out the trail. Now this is all covered in snow and started to ice up. So as I'm in the lead, and as I'm going up, there's probably about 2 feet of snow. My Jeep kind of sank in and started to slide, and it's sliding towards this like ravine, basically, with this fucking hill that these morons on both quads and off-road, trucks or whatever, had hollowed out. So thankfully, it stopped. But I still had to open the door and like get my winch out and hook up to a tree. And my buddy behind me, luckily, was there. We had that recovery, but I mean, it was like frame deep in snow. Trying to winch myself out and around on this thing that was maybe 1 lane wide on the side of a mountain. My wife was freaking out. So it was an interesting experience. Thankfully, we got down, no issues. My winch did die that day, so I had to wrap the cable and put it inside the cab. That sucked. And then, of course, eventually I get home and I tap it on the solenoid with like a wrench or something, and it starts working again. So the solenoid was like gross or wet or whatever. But that was probably the worst, because had that ravine been any wider, we would have been sideways and probably rolled down the hill.
Damn.
Yeah, so it was, I want to say, because that wasn't controlled, it was probably one of the sketchier times in a vehicle for me.
Damn. For those of you here in the chat, Ben had a parent emergency and had to bounce, so Scott and I are going to finish this out. The next question, which I also assume is from Gorilla Golf, is if you could speak any other language, but that would be your only language, what would it be?
That's tough, man.
Oh, easy for me. Spanish. Hunt it.
I would probably go with either Spanish or some form of Chinese, just for the accessibility.
Yeah, but
because you could talk to the most people.
You could talk to the most people isolated in one single area. With Spanish, that's fairly common across the world,
right?
Except in China,
Yeah,
so,
that's true. I'd probably go Spanish. I mean, I can speak Italian somewhat, but
there you go.
Yeah, it's actually very close. If anybody has done that.
Yeah. Same with French. All right, that's an easy one. Oh, and Gorilla Golf said it would be Japanese, so we can understand anime without subtitles. From Gear Dad, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
That's a tough one, man.
Not for me.
I mean,
stuffing.
I was gonna say not as tough for you, because you're still doing the vegan thing, right?
Yeah, mostly vegan.
Mostly vegan, yeah. I would have to agree. Stuffing's pretty baller, especially, it depends on the kind. Like, sometimes you get it, it's not so good, but like other times you'll get it. There's always that one or two members of the family that make it. You're like, I need some of that, and if I don't get it, we're fighting for it.
Yep. Sadly, my mom's stuffing is made with sausage, so rip that dream. And every time my parents are in town, they try to kill me because they forget that you can't cook food for a vegan on the same things that you make meat, because there's a thing called grease. And it stays,
cross-contamination.
Yes. Ugh. And then we did get a shout out. Narwolf wanted to know how you're going to cook that turkey, and the answer is in the oven. I'm sure.
That's right.
And the last question goes back to Gorilla Golf, and only because I like my answer for this one, is what's your favorite Thanksgiving memory?
Thanksgiving what?
Memory.
That's tough, man. I know for a while it was we would watch The Godfather, because that was on like 24/7. So we'd watch The Godfather Part 1 and 2.
Oh.
Right around Thanksgiving. And then, of course, Christmas was Star Wars. I think I told that story before. But yeah, The Godfather was on for a period of certain years on TV. We're like, yeah, we're going to start watching that every year.
Nice. Mine was we moved to Ohio when I was 8 in the summer. Mm-hmm. And for the place we were moving into wasn't ready yet. So for the first couple months, we lived with my godparents, my parents' best friends,
right,
in this duplex. And it was, they're a family of 5, we're a family of 5, lots of people in this duplex. And it snowed for the first time on Thanksgiving Day. A lot. and it was my first experience with snow ever. Well, not ever, but I was like 2 when my parents took me to Big Bear. So, but it snowed enough that we were able to have a 5-on-5 snowball fight, and we built a snowman and did all the things that you do when you're like, this shit is amazing.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite Thanksgiving memory. Was when I was 8 with my godparents, and those kids are
Nice.
like brothers and sisters to us. So
That's
so
awesome,
it's a
man.
good time. Good time.
I miss that like snow has become this thing that we all fucking hate now
We hate
because
it.
we're adults and
Yeah.
have to go to work.
There's still like a piece of me that when it snows, I'm like, oh. But then
Yeah.
I have to go to work, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck this shit.
Fuck everything about this right now.
When you don't have to be responsible, snow is great.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just a hindrance on responsibility. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up the show. Scott, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at Slapshot Scott. The O's are zeros. Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Don't really stream much because Destiny is all I play, and that runs like shit when I do stream. Yeah. Other than that, get in the Discord. The
Do
Bads
it.
Discord, barelyads.com. Shout out as always to my clan, IAP, and the Bads community. And Veterans Day was last week, so I want to just say thank you and give a quick shout out for
Hell yeah.
all of my friends. And I work with a bunch of veterans. My best friend, we talked about him earlier, John. He was a Marine. So many people in the Bads community are. It's pretty awesome.
Nice, dude. If you want to find Ben, you can find him at Ben Malone everywhere. I'm Xanafan711. You can find me anywhere you want to at Xanafan711. You will no longer be seeing me on Planet Destiny on Monday nights. I have resigned. And for no other reason, I just don't think it was a good fit. Best of luck to Planet Destiny. And then if you want to find this show, you can find us at BarelyADS on Twitter, www.barelyads.com. Shoot us an email, gmail.com. Barely a Destiny show everywhere, whatever, all the stuff. Band of the week was, hang on.
We got to scroll up. Hold on.
Layover. So check them out. Just Google search Layover. The album's
Is
called
that-
Your Laughter Never Leaves. Check them out.
Okay. Yeah, it's the URL Ben had in here is foxrecords.bandcamp.com/your-laughter-never-leaves.
Yep. I hate that Bandcamp is turning into more of an album thing than a band thing. It should be. They should have the band name first. Come on, Bandcamp. Get it together. Anyway, until next week, everybody, be the light you want to see in others. Have a good night.
Later, guys.
Bye. All right, let's clap, Scott.
All right.
All right, let's clap in 3, 2, 1. Dope. All right, you in the chat, thank you so much. We're gonna raid somebody, and let's see who we gonna raid. We're gonna raid the T Monster, who's playing God of War. So send all the love to T. Say hi. It's rare that he's streaming this late, so give him all the love. He was just in England visiting our boy Munch. So
Nice.
yeah, I saw a picture of him and his wife hanging out with Munch. It was great. Thank you all in the chat. Love you, Chris. Love you, Nikki. Nar. Good stuff. Have a beautiful night. Bye.